Are you confused by terms like British Isles, British Islands, Great Britain, Ireland, England, United Kingdom, Crown Dependencies, British Overseas Territories, or Commonwealth Realms? Don't worry, you're not alone. So let's explore together the meaning of each term, clarifying the differences between them. The British Isles is an archipelago of more than 6,000 islands, situated in the Atlantic Ocean, off the northwestern coast of Europe. The archipelago includes two main islands, Great Britain and Ireland, as well as numerous smaller islands and island groups. Among these smaller islands is the Isle of Man, nestled between the islands of Great Britain and Ireland. Further west, there are the Inner and Outer Hebrides, located off the coast of Scotland, while to the north are the Orkney and Shetland Islands. Off the southern and southwestern coast of England lie the Isle of Wight and the Isle of Scilly, respectively. The Channel Islands are a small group of islands located in the English Channel, off the coast of Normandy, France. The group is made up of several islands, including Jersey, Guernsey, Alderney, and Sark. Geographically speaking, the Channel Islands are not part of the British Isles, but according to UK legislation, they are considered part of the British Islands, being under the sovereignty of the United Kingdom. On Great Britain and its adjacent islands, there are three distinct countries, England, Scotland, and Wales, each with its own capital city, namely London, Edinburgh, and Cardiff. Meanwhile, on the island of Ireland, there are two countries, Northern Ireland, with its capital Belfast, and Ireland, with the capital Dublin. Although there are 5 countries in total, only 2 sovereign states occupy the British Isles. This is because England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland are constituent countries of the sovereign state known officially as the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, or simply as the UK. Its capital is London. It's worth noting that the term Great Britain is also used to refer specifically to England, Scotland, and Wales as a collective unit. The other sovereign state in the region is the Irish state, which is officially named Ireland. To distinguish this state from the island itself, or from Northern Ireland, it's also commonly referred to as the Republic of Ireland. The usage of geographical names of the two main islands of the British Isles by both sovereign states in their official names can be confusing for many people around the world. Moreover, the concept of 4 non-sovereign countries being united into one sovereign state is not widely known, leading to further confusion. As a result, many people consider England, Great Britain, and the UK to be one and the same country, without understanding why Ireland isn't a part of Great Britain or England. Adding to the confusion, the Interpretation Act 1978 defines British Islands as a legal term in the UK that refers to the UK, the Channel Islands, and the Isle of Man collectively. So, it's easy to see how this could lead to some head-scratching. Not many people understand the subtle difference between British Isles and British Islands. Given all of this, it's not surprising that the term British Isles is controversial in Ireland. The Irish government does not officially recognize the term, as it implies a primacy of British identity over all the islands and countries in the archipelago, including the Irish state. This is inaccurate, since Ireland is neither Britain nor British. The United Kingdom we know today is the result of a long and bloody history of annexations, unifications, and separations of its constituent countries. Between 1277 and 1283, Edward I of England conquered Wales. The Statute of Rhuddlan, promulgated at Rhuddlan Castle in March 1284, defined Wales as annexed and united to the English crown, separate from England but under the same monarch. Edward I's son, the future Edward II, became the first English Prince of Wales over the Principality of Wales in 1301. This established the tradition of granting this title to the heir apparent of the English and later British throne. During the reign of Henry VIII, the Principality of Wales ceased to exist as a legal entity, with the passing of the Laws in Wales Acts of 1535 and 1542 by the English Parliament. These acts stated that Wales was already incorporated, annexed, and united with England, and imposed English law and language upon the Welsh people while allowing Welsh representation in the English Parliament. However, the title Prince of Wales continued to be granted to heirs apparent of the British throne, up to the present day. In 1603, King James VI of Scotland inherited the English and Irish thrones, becoming James I and VI and uniting the crowns of England, Scotland, and Ireland in a personal union. Despite this union, the three kingdoms remained separate states. On April 12, 1606, a royal decree was issued, specifying a new flag to represent this regal union between England and Scotland. The flag of England, which featured a red cross on a white background, known as St. George's Cross, was joined with the flag of Scotland, featuring a white X-shaped cross on a blue background, known as St. Andrew's Cross, to create the flag of England and Scotland for maritime purposes. This became known as the first Union flag. However, the creation of a national flag proved contentious, with designs acceptable to one side typically offending the other. As a result, for a period of time there were two versions of the Union flag, one with the red cross on top, known as the English version, and the other with the white cross on top, identified as the Scots Union flag, is said to be used by the Scots. It is important to note that the red Welsh dragon was not included in the discussion for the Union flag, since Wales was already part of England, and therefore under the St. George's Cross. In 1707, under the reign of Queen Anne, the Kingdom of England and the Kingdom of Scotland were united as a result of the Acts of Union, passed by the Parliaments of England and Scotland to ratify the 1706 Treaty of Union. This created the new state, the Kingdom of Great Britain. Ireland, even if a kingdom under the same crown, was not included in the Union. It remained a separate kingdom, unrepresented in Parliament, and was legally subordinate to Great Britain. In 1801, under the reign of King George III, the Kingdom of Great Britain was united with the Kingdom of Ireland, as a result of the Acts of Union adopted by the Parliament of Great Britain and the Parliament of Ireland in 1800. On this occasion, the St. Patrick's Cross, representing Ireland, was added to the British flag to form the Union flag still used by the UK today. The association of the X-shaped red cross with St. Patrick dates back to the 1780s, when the Anglo-Irish Order of St. Patrick adopted it as an emblem. However, many Irish nationalists reject its use as a representation of Ireland, considering it to be a British invention. Ireland, also known as the Republic of Ireland, gained independence from the United Kingdom in 1922, following the Irish War of Independence. According to the Anglo-Irish treaties signed at the end of the war, the island of Ireland was divided into two regions, Northern and Southern Ireland, and became an autonomous dominion within the British Empire, under the name of the Irish Free State. However, Northern Ireland chose to leave this new state and opted for reintegration into the United Kingdom. In 1937, a new constitution was adopted, which changed the name of the state to Ireland, and in 1949, the duties of the British monarch as head of state were removed, and Ireland declared itself a republic. The British Islands comprise 3 island territories that are not part of the UK. These are the Crown Dependencies, which are self-governing possessions of the British Crown. The 3 Crown Dependencies are the Isle of Man, with its capital Douglas, the Bailiwick of Guernsey, with the capital St. Peter Port, and the Bailiwick of Jersey, with the capital St. Helier. Bailiwicks are areas of jurisdiction for bailiffs. The bailiff is the Chief Justice in each of the Channel Island bailiwicks of Guernsey and Jersey, also serving as President of the Legislature and having ceremonial and executive functions. The Crown appoints the bailiff, who must be a qualified lawyer and holds the office until retirement. The Crown Dependencies are not recognized internationally as sovereign states in their own right, but rather as territories for which the United Kingdom is responsible for their defense and international relations. The Crown Dependencies have their own directly elected legislative assemblies, administrative, fiscal, and legal systems, as well as their own courts of law. However, they are not represented in the UK Parliament. The UK legislation rarely extends to the Crown Dependencies, and should not be extended without first consulting the island's authorities and obtaining their consent. The British monarch is the head of state of each island, and appoints a lieutenant governor as their personal representative for each Crown Dependency. It's important to note that the British monarch reigns over each Crown Dependency directly, and not by virtue of their role as monarch of the United Kingdom. In the Isle of Man, the British monarch holds the title of Lord of Man. The Crown Dependencies have a long-standing relationship with the UK, stemming from their status as feudatory kingdoms, subject to the English Crown. To understand the special status of these 3 Crown Dependencies, we must look back in history. During the Iron Age, the Isle of Man was inhabited by Celts, but Vikings arrived at the end of the 8th century, and the Isle of Man became a Norse dependency until 1266, when King Magnus VI of Norway ceded the island to Alexander III, King of Scots, as part of the Treaty of Perth. Possession then passed to England, after King Edward I conquered the island in 1290. For some years thereafter, control passed back and forth between England and Scotland, until the English took it for the final time in 1346. Control finally settled with England, under King Henry IV, and the island has remained a crown dependency ever since. Since 1399, the kings and lords of Man were vassals of the kings of England, and subsequently of Great Britain, who was the ultimate sovereign of the island. The Lord of Man is the Lord Proprietor and head of state of the Isle of Man, but before 1504, the head of state was known as King of Man. The right of Lord Proprietor was revested to the Crown by the Isle of Man Purchase Act 1765, and King George III became the first British monarch to reign over the Isle of Man as Lord of Man. For reasons of culture and tradition, the title Lord of Man continues to be used nowadays. As for the Channel Islands, in 933, they became part of the territory annexed by the Duchy of Normandy, which was ruled at that time by William I Longsword, the son of Viking warrior Rollo. In 1066, William II of Normandy invaded and conquered England, becoming William I of England, also known as William the Conqueror. In 1204, King John of England lost Normandy to King Philip II of France, but he managed to keep control of the Channel Islands and ruled them as Duke of Normandy until the Treaty of Paris in 1259. John's son, Henry III, renounced the title of Duke of Normandy by that treaty. Since then, the Channel Islands have been governed as two separate bailiwicks and were never absorbed into the Kingdom of England nor its successor kingdoms of Great Britain and the United Kingdom. They were governed by the kings of England as French fiefs, distinct from Normandy, until the 100 Years' War, during which they were definitively separated from France. So the Channel Islands are the only part of the former Duchy of Normandy that remain loyal to the British monarchy. Historically speaking, the islands owe allegiance to the British Crown in its role as Duke of Normandy. That's why in the Channel Islands, the British monarch is customarily referred to as the Duke of Normandy, but this title is not used in formal government publications and, as a matter of Channel Islands law, does not exist. In conclusion, to summarize the whole story, British Isles is the geographic name of the archipelago that includes two main islands, Great Britain and Ireland. On the island of Great Britain, there are three countries, England, Scotland, and Wales. On the island of Ireland, there are two countries, Ireland and Northern Ireland. England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland are the four constituent countries of the sovereign state of the United Kingdom. The term Great Britain is also used to refer to England, Scotland, and Wales as a collective unit. In the region, there are also three island entities that are not part of the UK. These are the Crown dependencies, the Isle of Man and the Channel Islands, namely the Bailiwick of Guernsey and the Bailiwick of Jersey. Geographically speaking, the Channel Islands are not part of the British Isles archipelago. However, the British have created the legal term British Islands that refers to the UK, the Channel Islands, and the Isle of Man collectively. So, at this point, we've clarified most of the confusing terms related to the UK. In Part 2, we'll explore British overseas territories and Commonwealth realms. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications to stay up to date with our latest content. Thanks for watching.